The story begins with Tae, a quiet and timid boy whose life has been miserable because of constant bullying. Other students make fun of his appearance and treat him badly, forcing him to change schools again and again. Just when he thinks things cannot get worse, he moves to a mysterious village where he hopes to start over. There, Tae meets his childhood friend Jean, but she doesn't seem particularly happy to see him and keeps her distance. Soon, Tae learns about a boy everyone in the village fears, the legendary White Tiger. The White Tiger is famous for his incredible strength, speed, and fearless personality. He has already been expelled from several schools, and even the teachers are afraid of him. Students believe that nobody can defeat him. One day, while Tae is riding his bicycle home, a strange cloud of smoke suddenly blocks his vision. He loses control of the bicycle and crashes directly into the White Tiger. The impact is serious enough to send the White Tiger to the hospital. While checking his identity, the doctor notices that the White Tiger's surname is surprisingly similar to Tae's. This creates confusion because Tae has no brother. When Tae returns to school, the students make a huge mistake. Because of the accident and the confusion surrounding the White Tiger's identity, they begin believing that Tae is actually the legendary fighter. At first, Tae is terrified and wants to tell them the truth, but then he realizes that everyone is finally treating him with respect. So instead of correcting them, he decides to pretend that he really is the White Tiger. He introduces himself confidently in front of the class and challenges anyone to fight him. Nobody accepts because they are too scared. Eventually, the school's main bully decides to test Tae himself. He suddenly throws a punch at Tae, but Tae instinctively dodges it. His reflexes are extremely fast because he has spent years avoiding bullies. The students misunderstand the situation and assume Tae has mastered an advanced fighting technique. Suddenly, the same people who used to bully him start respecting him. They ask him to become their friend, teach them martial arts, and even help them impress girls. Tae is secretly nervous because he knows he cannot actually fight, but he agrees to maintain his new identity. At a party organized by his new friends, Tae meets Dina, one of the most popular girls in school. She is known for rejecting many boys and only being interested in someone genuinely brave. Dina notices Tae, but she isn't completely convinced that he is the real White Tiger. Later, during a football game, another student named Kim exposes Tae's weakness. Kim has previously seen Tae getting beaten up, so he knows that Tae isn't the legendary fighter. Tae begs Kim to keep the secret, but another bully becomes suspicious and decides to test Tae using the White Tiger's famous smoking habit. He gives Tae a cigarette and tells him to smoke it if he really is the White Tiger. Tae reluctantly tries, but immediately starts coughing. He is almost exposed. Just when the bully is about to force him to confess, Tae's new friends arrive. Instead of turning against him, they defend him and beat up the bully. Tae realizes that his fake identity has become surprisingly powerful. However, Kim continues to threaten him with the secret. Things become more serious when Kim gets into trouble with another bully. Tae steps in to protect him even though he is terrified. The bully challenges Tae to a one-on-one fight. Tae tries to escape, but the bully catches him and knocks him down several times. When the bully grabs him, Tae bites his hand to escape. The bully then lifts Tae into the air, preparing to throw him down. Tae panics and swings his elbow backward. His elbow hits the bully's head and knocks him unconscious. Everyone watching is shocked. Instead of realizing that Tae simply got lucky, they believe he defeated the bully through incredible martial arts. His reputation becomes even stronger. Meanwhile, Dina is having problems with her boyfriend. She decides to break up with him after discovering that he gave her a fake wallet, but he refuses to accept the breakup. When he starts harassing her, Tae's friends confront him. The situation becomes tense when the boyfriend tries to intimidate everyone with a weapon. Tae steps forward and tells him that he needs to respect Dina's feelings. If she doesn't love him anymore, he cannot force her to stay. The boyfriend arrogantly claims that Dina belongs to him. That makes Tae furious. He punches him and makes him back off. Dina becomes deeply impressed by Tae. She likes not only his courage but also the way he thinks about love and respect. Soon, Tae and Dina start spending more time together. Their relationship slowly becomes genuine, and Tae finally feels like someone truly cares about him. But while Tae is enjoying his new life, the real White Tiger wakes up from his coma. Unfortunately, he has lost his memory and cannot remember what happened before the accident. Meanwhile, Dina's jealous ex-boyfriend becomes obsessed with revenge. After learning that Dina now likes the White Tiger, he begins searching for him throughout the school. When Tae arrives at school, a supervisor stops him because his uniform isn't properly arranged and orders him to do push-ups as punishment. Before Tae can do anything, his friends arrive and defend him. They remind the supervisor that Tae is the legendary White Tiger. The supervisor becomes frightened and lets him go. Tae begins realizing that his new reputation has made his life much easier. But his happiness doesn't last. Dina's ex-boyfriend enters the school looking for revenge. He goes from classroom to classroom attacking students and demanding to know who the white tiger is. Eventually, he finds Tae outside near the plantation area. Tae immediately runs away and tries to defend himself with a shovel. The attacker continues chasing him and throws a tool that narrowly misses Tae. Just when the situation becomes extremely dangerous, something ridiculous happens. The attacker accidentally gets animal waste on his hand and becomes completely disgusted. When other students start approaching, he quickly escapes. After surviving the attack, Tae and his friends decide to strengthen his reputation even more. They organize a confrontation with the rival group and Tae manages to defeat them. From that point on, his reputation spreads throughout the town. People begin fearing the white tiger, and even the police hesitate to interfere with him. Later, a school event gives Tae and Dina another chance to spend time together. Tae's friends tell him that Dina loves dancing, so he decides to surprise her. He walks onto the dance floor, and everyone becomes curious about what he is planning. Then Tae suddenly starts dancing with impressive confidence. Dina is amazed. She never expected the awkward Tae she knew to be such a good dancer. After his performance, she approaches him and tells him how impressed she is. When she asks where he learned to dance, Tae confidently pretends that it is simply a natural talent he has had since childhood. As they walk together, Dina takes his hand. Tae becomes extremely nervous. He isn't used to receiving this kind of affection, and it feels like he has finally found someone who genuinely likes him. Dina eventually asks whether he is free on the weekend. Tae nervously says he is busy, which immediately disappoints her. But he quickly realizes his mistake and runs after her. He tells her that he is actually free, and they arrange their date. Dina gives Tae a photograph with her phone number written on the back. Tae looks at it happily, feeling like his life has completely changed. The next day, everyone at school is talking about Tae and Dina. But then the biggest surprise of all happens. The real white tiger arrives at school. He introduces himself to the students, and everyone becomes excited. Some students are confused because they have never seen him before, while others are immediately intimidated by his appearance. Tae spends the entire class nervously watching him. He is terrified that the real white tiger will expose him and destroy the reputation he has built. But surprisingly, the white tiger doesn't reveal anything. After class, Tae meets him in the bathroom and discovers the reason. The accident caused the real white tiger to lose his memory. Tae realizes that this is the only reason his secret is still safe. However, the students soon decide to test the newcomer. They give the real white tiger a cigarette and wait to see how he reacts. He tries it, immediately calls it cheap, and throws it away. One of the bullies becomes angry and tries to attack him. But this time, there is no lucky accident. The real white tiger effortlessly grabs the bully and throws him aside. Everyone becomes completely silent. Tae watches in shock. Until this moment, he has been pretending to be a powerful fighter because everyone believed he was the white tiger. But now the real one has returned. And Tae finally understands the biggest problem of all. The man standing in front of him isn't pretending. He really is the legendary white tiger. Tae soon realizes that even though the real white tiger has lost his memories, his incredible strength and intimidating presence are still exactly the same. Tae decides to stay close to him and become his friend so he can understand whether the white tiger is genuinely suffering from memory loss or secretly remembers everything. But before Tae can figure it out, trouble arrives. He runs into Dina's jealous ex-boyfriend, who takes him somewhere isolated and threatens him. He tells Tae to stay away from Dina or he will seriously hurt him. Tae becomes terrified. But before the situation can get worse, the real white tiger steps in. He immediately shows everyone why he is feared. Using his incredible fighting skills, he takes down the attackers one after another. The bullies quickly realize they have no chance against him and run away. After this incident, something unexpected develops between Tae and the real white tiger. Despite being completely different, the two begin forming a strange friendship. For the moment, Tae feels safe around him. Later that evening, Tae gets ready for his date with Dina. This time, he is much more confident than before. Instead of acting awkward, he keeps making Dina laugh and helps her feel comfortable. At one point, Tae even teaches her how to dance. The two enjoy the moment so much that it almost feels like they are inside a dream. While dancing, Dina suddenly loses her balance, but Tae quickly catches her in his arms. For a moment, they simply stare at each other as their hearts start beating faster. After the date, they become even closer. However, Dina then suggests going to an expensive restaurant. Tae immediately becomes nervous because he has almost no money. Still, he doesn't want to disappoint her. Once they arrive at the restaurant, they order their food. Tae then makes an excuse and leaves the table, pretending that he needs to go to the bathroom. But he isn't actually going there. Instead, he secretly contacts his friends and asks them for money. Unfortunately, they don't have enough either. So they come up with another idea. They decide to ask the real white tiger for help. At the same time, something unexpected happens to the white tiger. Dina's ex-boyfriend attacks him and hits him hard on the head. The impact triggers something inside the white tiger's mind. Slowly, his memories begin returning. He suddenly remembers the accident and realizes that Tae was the boy who crashed his bicycle into him. Now the white tiger finally knows the entire truth. He knows that Tae has been pretending to be him. But surprisingly, when Tae meets him, the white tiger doesn't expose him. Instead, he quietly gives Tae enough money to continue his date with Dina. Then he walks away without saying anything. Tae is confused but grateful. After dinner, Tae walks Dina home. Both of them are extremely happy, and while walking together, Tae finally gathers enough courage to ask whether they are officially a couple now. Dina smiles shyly and moves closer to him. She closes her eyes, clearly waiting for Tae to make a romantic move. But Tae becomes so nervous that he completely freezes. Dina gets annoyed and tells him that he is incredibly stupid because he just missed the perfect moment. Tae realizes his mistake and asks her for another chance. Seeing his innocent reaction, Dina forgives him and tells him that maybe next time he will finally understand what to do. On his way home, Tae suddenly notices Jean. A few boys are bothering her, so Tae immediately steps in. He warns them that he is the white tiger. The moment they hear that name, the boys become terrified. They apologize and quickly leave. Afterward, Tae gently fixes Jin's hair. For a moment, Jean wonders if Tae might secretly have feelings for her. But Tae casually ruins the moment by saying that nobody would ever fall in love with such an arrogant girl. Jean becomes furious. She kicks Tae directly in the face. Strangely, this encounter leaves a strong impression on Tae. He begins realizing that his feelings toward Jean might be more complicated than he thought. Now Dina isn't the only girl occupying his mind. Jean has also started becoming important to him. Later, Tae invites Dina on another date. But this time, the real white tiger unexpectedly joins them. When he sees Dina, he immediately becomes interested in her. He openly flirts with her and tells her that he has never seen a girl as beautiful as her. Tae becomes extremely uncomfortable. As soon as the white tiger leaves, Tae tries to regain Dina's attention by suddenly performing a Michael Jackson-style dance. Dina is completely confused by his behavior. Then Tae gives her the wallet she wanted earlier. Dina becomes emotional because she realizes Tae remembered something she really wanted. The two share another romantic moment, and Tae tries to get closer to her. But Dina stops him. Later, Jean visits Tae and warns him about Dina. She tells him that Dina may not be as innocent as he thinks and that she has previously used several boys for her own benefit. Tae doesn't take the warning seriously. Instead, he insults Jean. Jean becomes furious and throws a shoe at him before leaving. The next day, Tae goes to school, but Jin's words continue bothering him. He starts wondering whether Dina genuinely loves him or whether he is simply being used. Meanwhile, the real white tiger continues trying to impress Dina. He brings her gifts, flirts with her, and constantly tries to get her attention. First, Dina ignores him, but the white tiger doesn't give up. Eventually, Dina agrees to go on a date with him. He takes her to a beautiful hilltop and prepares her favorite food. The two spend a peaceful evening together, far away from everyone else. Dina slowly begins developing feelings for him. Meanwhile, Tae is waiting for her at home, completely unaware of where she is. When Dina finally returns, Tae sees her with the white tiger. Then something happens that completely breaks his heart. The white tiger takes Dina's hand and kisses her. Tae watches everything from a distance and is devastated. Later, Dina confronts the white tiger and angrily accuses him of trying to destroy her relationship with Tae. She asks why he is doing this when he already knows that Tae genuinely loves her. But the white tiger isn't intimidated. Instead, he gives Tae a warning. He reveals that he knows Tae has been using the white tiger's name and that he knows the truth about his identity. Then he walks away, leaving Tae emotionally destroyed. But the biggest humiliation is still waiting for him. The next day at school, the real white tiger gathers all the students together. He announces that it is finally time for everyone to learn the truth. Then he reveals that he is the real white tiger. The students are completely shocked. Everyone immediately turns toward Tae. The white tiger forces Tae to admit the truth. With no way out, Tae finally confesses that he isn't the real white tiger. His friends feel betrayed. They become furious because Tae had hidden such a huge secret from them for so long. The situation becomes violent, and Tae is attacked by the very people who once considered him their leader. Tae loses everything in a matter of moments. But the white tiger isn't finished. He forces Tae to tell Dina the truth as well. Tae approaches Dina feeling extremely guilty. He finally explains that he was never the real white tiger. He only took the identity because he wanted people to respect him and because he had fallen in love with Dina. He admits that he wanted to become her boyfriend and believed pretending to be someone powerful was the only way she would notice him. Dina is heartbroken and furious. She slaps Tae and walks away. Tae is left completely devastated. Meanwhile, the real white tiger continues acting strangely around Dina. Instead of simply exposing Tae and leaving, he keeps flirting with her and reminds her that she is still as beautiful as ever. This makes it clear that the white tiger isn't simply trying to reveal the truth. He seems to be playing his own game and wants to keep everyone under his control. The next day, Tae returns home injured and emotionally broken. When his mother comes to check on him, Tae doesn't want her to know what happened, so he pretends to be asleep, hiding his injuries and his pain from her. For the first time since becoming the fake white tiger, Tae has lost almost everything he gained: his reputation, his friends, and possibly the girl he loved. After everything that happened, Tae becomes too afraid to return to school. He knows that the students who once followed him may now beat him up again. So instead of going to class, he hides somewhere alone and looks at Dina's photograph while crying. Eventually, Tae gathers the courage to speak to Dina, but she refuses to forgive him. She throws the wallet he gave her back at him and walks away. Tae returns home even more heartbroken. But his problems don't stop there. A group of boys recognizes him and realizes that he was never the real white tiger. They surround him and beat him badly. At this point, Tae feels completely defeated. The only person who still believes in him is Jean. She refuses to let him give up. Jean tells Tae that he shouldn't allow other people to decide his future. If he wants to change his life, he has to take control of it himself. She even tells him that he can still become someone strong enough to stand against the real white tiger. Jean also warns the real white tiger not to manipulate Tae anymore. The white tiger ignores her warning. Jean loses her patience and suddenly attacks him, even striking him in the face. The next day at school, everyone notices that the white tiger has an injury around his eye. Tae accidentally asks him who did it. That turns out to be a huge mistake. The white tiger brutally beats Tae, leaving him badly injured and sending him to the hospital. When Tae wakes up, he is surrounded by his family, but his mind is still haunted by the white tiger. For Tae, the white tiger has become more than just a bully. He feels like a curse that has followed him everywhere. Jean visits him and becomes angry after seeing his condition. She tells him that he can't keep allowing people to hurt him without defending himself. Tae sadly explains that his entire life has been filled with bullying. He has suffered for so long that he has almost become used to the pain. His confidence is completely broken. But Jean refuses to give up on him. She comes up with a plan. Instead of telling Tae to run away from the white tiger, she decides to make him strong enough to face him. After Tae is discharged from the hospital, he begins serious training with Jean. Every day, she pushes him physically and mentally. She makes him lift heavy objects, trains his endurance, and teaches him how to defend himself. Jean promises that if Tae works hard for 30 days, he will be ready to face the white tiger. The training is extremely difficult. Tae's body becomes exhausted, and there are moments when he feels like quitting. But whenever he remembers all the years of bullying and humiliation he suffered, he forces himself to get back up. Day after day, he becomes stronger. After nearly a month, Jean is shocked by his transformation. Tae is no longer the weak and frightened boy everyone used to bully. His body is stronger, but more importantly, his eyes now contain confidence and determination. His first real test comes when another bully tries to take his lunch. But this time, Tae refuses to back down. He stops the bully immediately. Jean continues teaching him self-defense techniques, and together they begin creating a plan to challenge the white tiger's group. After Tae defeats one of the bullies, Jean gives him a dragon mask. From that moment, Tae creates a new identity for himself, the blue dragon. He begins confronting bullies while wearing the mask so nobody can discover who he really is. Soon, rumors about the mysterious blue dragon spread throughout the school. Every time someone tries to challenge him, Tae defeats them and disappears before anyone can identify him. Eventually, entire groups of bullies become terrified whenever they hear the name Blue Dragon. Meanwhile, the real white tiger hears about this mysterious fighter. He visits an injured student at the hospital and manages to get a small clue. Apparently, the Blue Dragon may have injured an eye during one of his fights. The white tiger starts examining students and looking for anyone with bruises or swelling around their eyes. But he can't identify Tae because Tae has deliberately attacked different people and created multiple false clues to hide his identity. One day, Tae enters the school wearing his mask and gets involved in another confrontation. The situation becomes chaotic, and the police eventually decide to search the entire school. Luckily, Tae manages to escape because nobody finds his mask or discovers his identity. Afterward, he returns to Jean. Whenever Tae is around her, he feels safe and calm. He slowly realizes that Jean is the person who gave him a reason to keep going when he had almost completely lost hope. This changes his purpose. Tae decides that he doesn't want to fight just for revenge anymore. He wants to protect people who are too weak to protect themselves. And eventually, he wants to defeat the white tiger. Meanwhile, the real white tiger becomes increasingly violent. One day, he attacks an innocent student for no real reason. Tae realizes that confronting him directly may not be the smartest strategy. Instead, he comes up with a clever plan. Tae convinces everyone to make the white tiger the class president. The white tiger happily accepts the position because he enjoys having authority over others. But he doesn't realize that Tae is setting a trap. To celebrate his new position, the white tiger takes some weaker students to a restaurant. Everything appears normal at first, but secretly Tae has prepared a plan. His friends give the white tiger alcohol so that he becomes dizzy and loses some of his focus. When the white tiger eventually leaves the restaurant, he comes face to face with the mysterious blue dragon. A fight immediately begins, but the result isn't what Tae expected. The white tiger manages to defeat the blue dragon. He grabs the mask and pulls it off, expecting to discover Tae underneath. Instead, he finds one of his own gang members. The boy explains that he was forced to wear the mask and had no intention of fighting the white tiger. But then more students arrive. They are all wearing similar masks. These students have all suffered from the white tiger's bullying, and now they have joined together to fight back. The white tiger faces the entire group, but his strength is overwhelming. He manages to defeat one student after another, making it seem like nobody can stop him. Then, just when the situation seems hopeless, a mysterious figure wearing a yellow mask enters the fight. The white tiger realizes that he may have been deliberately trapped. Instead of staying to fight everyone, he retreats. When the yellow mask is removed, Tae discovers that it was Jean. She didn't come because she wanted revenge. She came because she was afraid Tae would get hurt. Jean finally admits how deeply she cares about him. She tells Tae that she can't imagine losing him and doesn't want to see him destroy himself. Tae is deeply moved by her confession. Their bond becomes stronger than ever. The next day, the white tiger doesn't come to school, but he continues investigating. He questions another student and eventually discovers the truth. The mysterious blue dragon is actually Tae. The white tiger is shocked. Now he has only one goal: revenge. He kidnaps Jean and Tae's friends, forcing Tae to confront him one final time. This time, their battle is about much more than physical strength. It becomes a clash between two completely different ideas of what strength means. The white tiger believes that being strong gives him the right to control and hurt others. Tae believes that true strength should be used to protect people who are weaker. As the fight continues, Tae remembers everything the white tiger did to him. Every punch represents years of humiliation, fear, and anger. For the first time, Tae has enough strength to defeat the person who once made him feel completely powerless. But in the middle of the fight, Tae realizes something important. If he gives in to his anger and becomes cruel like the white tiger, then he hasn't really changed. He would simply become another version of the person he hates. So, at the final moment, Tae chooses not to destroy the white tiger. Instead, he lets him live. After the battle, Tae takes Jin's hand and walks away. He finally understands his true purpose. He doesn't need to become feared like the white tiger. He wants to become someone who protects others. The next day, Tae returns to school without a mask and without pretending to be anyone else. The atmosphere has completely changed. The bullying that once controlled the school begins to disappear. Students start treating one another with more respect, and Tae becomes known as a hero. Not because he is the strongest person around, but because he chose to use his strength for good. Even after everything he has been through, Tae remains humble. His relationship with Jean also becomes stronger, and together they begin a new chapter of their lives. In the end, Tae's journey proves that real strength isn't about violence, fear, or controlling others. True strength comes from courage, kindness, self-control, and the decision to protect people instead of hurting them. The boy who once spent his entire life running away from bullies finally becomes strong enough to stand on his own, and, more importantly, strong enough to make sure others don't have to suffer the way he did.